Hey, Raul here for Bass Musician Magazine. If you were watching January 2022, I did a review on the Glarry GIB 5-string bass. My takeaway, even though I do encourage you to check out that review in its entirety, was that this instrument has good bones, sort of a diamond in the rough, if you will. And I set out to make some improvements so that I could enjoy playing this instrument even more than I did when I initially started. If you also look on YouTube and on the internet, you will see that the consensus of people that have tried out the Glarry basses very much kind of in the same vein. They're actually very surprised how well these instruments are coming to them considering the budget price. So I'm going to do 3 parts. This is going to be part 1, and I'm going to dedicate my attention to the fretboard. Part 2, I'm going to dedicate some attention to the neck and the body. Part 3, we're going to dedicate some attention to strings. For this part, which is the fretboard, the important thing is I'm going to be using Music Nomad Equipment Care products to help me get this job done. The bass will be on the instrument mat. It'll be resting on the cradle cube. I'm going to polish the frets using their Freien, and I am going to use their F1 fretboard oil on the rosewood fretboard itself to help give me the results that I'm looking for. Let's take a closer look at some of those products. Let's take a close look at what comes in the Freien fret polishing kit. The first thing that came out are the 3 fret guards. You'll notice they're stainless steel with plastic handles, and each one of them has a slot cut out of it that is designed to fit either a small, jumbo, or medium fret. With that, you should be able to polish pretty much any frets on your string fretted instruments. So that's about perfect there. The next thing we get is the polishing paste itself, the fret polish. And this comes in a 1 fluid ounce or 30 milliliter tube. This is designed to clean and shine your frets, remove oxidation, and it is a petroleum-free formulation so that you can get clean, smooth frets and improve the playability and string life. Next, we have an 8x6 microfiber polishing cloth with, of course, very cool Music Nomad logo on it, and this is designed for your application of this polishing paste. It is kind of a gray cloth, and so you won't necessarily see all the grime and oxidation on it, but I'm pretty sure you'll, even with this coloring, be able to see what's there. Then last but not least, the container it came in. It's a kind of cardboard tube with a nice cap that fits on nicely, and this will be a perfect home for the Freien polishing kit when I'm not using it, and it's nice and compact so you can keep things nice and organized. Let's take a look at my second ace in the hole, another great product from Music Nomad Equipment Care, and it is the Fretboard F1 oil. This is a cleaner and a conditioner, and it is 100% natural oils that come from tree and seeds. They didn't use any lemon oil, and that's going to cut down on acidity, which we suspect may dry out wood versus protecting it. It is also petroleum and wax free. It has an easy applicator where you can place, selectively the drops where you want to. You can work it into the fretboard using your microfiber cloth, also from Music Nomad Equipment Care. And once you've kind of got it spread out everywhere you want it, you can buff it with the same cloth. It dries fast, smells great, and is safe to use on rosewood, ebony, and maple. The important thing about this is it's designed to give that wood in your fretboard its life back. Okay, so now that we know what we've got to use, I suppose I could have recorded a video of this and then made you watch time lapse. But basically this project, I spread it out over 3 days, and I probably spent about 5 to 6 hours simply filing off the sharp edges that are on the frets. Now they're not terribly sharp, but they're just a little uncomfortable, and I really noticed that when I took the strings off the instrument that those edges were just kind of bothersome upon playing. So the things that I use to start out with, I recommend that you have some form of magnification so that you can do this carefully and not damage your fretboard. So you're going to want something like these. These are hobby loops, readily available. And if you do anything with your hands, you discover that this just helps you see so much better. And if nothing else, it'll help you read the print on the products because everything is so small nowadays. So we have magnification to be able to see better. I used blue painter's tape to protect the fretboard and the neck around, those side areas. And unlike if I were in a shop, I would have probably taped the whole thing all at once. But I limited myself to work kind of one fret at a time and focus on it. So in order to file, I went to Lowe's and picked up a very inexpensive set of 6 files. It runs you about a little over $1 per file, and they definitely did the job. They're a little rustic. As a matter of fact, I looked at the tips and they seem like they might be even a little bit bent because they were cast that way. But they did all the filing. They reached, I had the different shapes. So I was able to take that very sharp bevel down to more of a rounded, comfortable bevel. And I used feeling, even though I was looking at things and seeing that they were looking smoother, it was what my hands told me was right. And that was kind of my guide to move on to the next fret. Once it felt good, then I was on to another one. But that is the time staking part of this project. Once I got them, all those edges, those ends all filed down, then it was time to apply the frine. With the frine, I used the stainless steel guide that they provide. You have to make sure you shake up the tube really well before you start. And all it takes is a very small dab of that paste on the fret where you work it with the cloth and rub it in nicely. And then when you're done, use the rest of the cloth to wipe away any excess. You don't want it staying on your fretboard. I did get a little bit that kind of got on the fretboard and dried off, but it came off very easily with an old toothbrush. I simply just brushed the residue away and I was good to go with that. The next step was applying the F1 oil to the rosewood fretboard. And it was pretty amazing. I never realized how kind of dried out and ashen the rosewood on that fretboard was until I started applying the oil. I went ahead and did 2 coats because it seemed to want as much oil as I could give it. So I put on, buffed it out, let it sit overnight, came the next day, gave another coat of that F1 oil to make sure I had it nice and clean and protected so that as I move forward with my next steps, that part will be all said and done. So I encourage you to stay tuned for the next part where we're going to work on making the neck feel a little better and maybe make that body a little better too. Not modifying the shape, but I got it kind of dirty working on it, so I'm going to have to clean it up and make it look spiffy again. So this has been Raul for Bass Musician Magazine. If you are interested in getting any of the Music Nomad products, make sure you check out musicnomadcare.com.